Guys, this is day 4 of trading the funded account and doing this challenge with you, showing each trade, each step. And today we caught a beautiful GBP USD long. In this video, I'm going to be explaining exactly the idea that I took, why we profited, the mistake that we made at first, but still coming out profitable at the end of the day. So as you guys know, you've seen some of the videos being laggy. I do apologize. For some reason, YouTube is letting them run perfectly fine for the first few days and then it starts lagging. I'm not too sure why that's happening, but I will re-upload those. But day 3, we took a 2% loss. I'll re-upload that video so I understand exactly the reason why we took a loss, how we improved, what our aim and goal was coming into the market today, and then just taking it forward from there. In this trade idea, we had beautiful extensions. We could have held it a little bit further, but we'll get into that. I just want to thank you all for the support on this channel so far. We reached 1,500 subscribers. It was the other day that, I was saying, let's reach 1.5, and you guys have pushed to that point. I really, really do appreciate the support and, the feedback that you guys have been giving. So it's absolutely amazing. The ideal goal to get this channel is 100,000 subscribers. That's always been one of my goals and one of my dreams. So let's just continue this series. Let's continue pushing out as much valuable content out for you guys and hope that you can learn something. So something that's very, very important when jumping into the markets is, as I said, on a day-to-day basis, we're always looking for data and statistics in our favor, right? So if we can just go look, before we even get into the data, let's go look at what happened these past few days here on GBP USD, right? So we had bullish momentum coming up from the past, few days. We've been running higher. We originally had on the 2nd of September, massive dip down in the markets. And that's obviously when, Donald Trump was speaking and said the big investments when it came to what's going on in the country. We saw dollar obviously start to rise quite drastically, right? Then we started to see the rotation after almost sweeping this low here, not really holding price as we're trying to, draw our key level. It started to break above and then almost break and retest once again. So ideally, the flows that we're looking for today, we had a nice little correction already in the markets. We are looking for bullish momentum. Right now, we're going to look at stats. Before we even look at the idea, we always want to see what stats are in our favor. So Euro USD was 87% green candle day if it broke above. Now, we were looking at GU and almost correlating between the two on the idea that we're going to be building, today. So essentially, if we look at Edgefield stats, once it loads here, we're going to be seeing that we had an 80% green candle day and a 20% chance that it would be red if breaking above the Asian range, and 73% red candle day if it break below. So again, data behind us, we are looking for buys. The stats are in our favor if Asian range did break above. So let's just see how price played out, right? So first and foremost thing, we've identified flows. Next thing, we need to see what Asian range was kind of doing. It's just cool to see that we had the correction. Asian range also had a bit of a small correction, is traveling below 15-minute EMA, and this is about 7 o'clock. So we're not into position anytime soon. We want to see price obviously extend like this, rotate, and then start to push higher. So that's essentially what we're focusing on every single trade idea, especially with stats in our favor today as well. See how price obviously played out. We see a beautiful extension breaking above Asian range, which originally is then putting stats in our favor, right? We want to see, we've had previous bullish flows, previous day high was obviously extended at this point here. Okay, so our overall target would be previous day highs, but 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 2 even is still a really, really good target at the end of the day. So previous day flows were very, very much bullish here. Asian range breakout, EMA we're traveling above on the 15. Everything is looking pretty solid, right? Now we're going to draw out a demand area, which would be the last bearish candle before the bullish wick, right? As we can see that. Then we want to see the extension to the top side, right? So let's just continue seeing what price did. Originally we saw that beautiful momentum start to rise. We had a small little pullback here. Now there is a mistake in this trade idea that I did. So I put 0.5% risk on originally at this point here, right? Okay, so we were targeting 1 to 2, but our stops were a little bit tight on this idea. Okay, so we were risking 0.5%. had a bit of a size on in terms of the lot size. We wanted to run to price there, essentially would have been a really good trade idea. But what happened was actually price started to go nicely and actually tagged us out. Now, this is 10 to 1 where, ideally coming into the market today, I was going to be risking 1%. Okay, so the idea behind this trade was 1%. And essentially what I did was, as soon as we got that beautiful reaction out of that 15 minutes, even if I dropped down to the fives, then we saw that 5. I put my stops at that point. So even with the higher lot size, I was risking 0.5%. It was a very aggressive entry model. It's called a V1 model. It's perfectly fine. This idea, we should have maybe not kept our stop so tight, otherwise we wouldn't even be tagged out. So obviously we took a 0.5% loss here on this idea as that quick spike came through and tagged us out over here. But then we re-entered the position at 0.5% risk, and then started to run higher, and we saw that break above that 10 minute again. The reason why I re-entered, very, very important here, guys, is the fact that EMA was still holding, as well as our demand zone, which is still holding quite nicely as well. So if price did have to break below and kind of go past this point, cool, I would have said, let me just scratch the idea, take that 0.5% loss for the day. So that left us at 1% for the day. Remember, we took a 2% loss on our day 3. Then obviously the first trade idea 0.5, so we were only 1% profit for the day. Okay, so ideally we were trying to aim for about 2%, just to make back that 0.5% loss as well as hitting 1.5% profit. So, again, small lot size, not too big, risking 0.5% on the idea and wanting to see the extension of the target. So that would have left us at a 1 to 4 and 1 to 5. Again, it was aggressive entry model. So stops were very, very tight on this idea, as once we saw that beautiful rejection pop above that 15-minute EMA again, I kept my stops very, very tight, expecting that straight initial reaction, which is what we did get. So first idea, obviously hit stops, right? Second idea, entered, very, very tight stops, wanting to see where price starts to run. And as we can see, we've got a beautiful bullish momentum coming up, and we took our profits there. Another thing I did forget to mention on this idea was I actually took my fib retracement from the top to the bottom there, and we still traveled within the 71 and 61 area even after that drop. And that's what gave me conviction in holding this idea and re-entering this trade idea. Again, what I could have done a little bit better is maybe extend the target. Then that 2% profit or 2.5% profit would have been as whole, instead of taking a 0.5% loss and then making 1.5% profit. I'll leave the screenshots up here on the screen of the first loss and then obviously the profit. We could have extended our target a little bit further to 27. Ideally, the range that we were looking for was 61%, but keep in mind we took that 0.5% loss. We were happy to get out at 1.5% profit. That left us at 3% profit overall on the account, which is not a bad trade idea at all. I did take this on my other funded as well as my personal too, with the second entry over this point, so we did make some good money today as well. But yeah, perfectly happy with taking out at 1.5% profit. Again, we made the small mistake of simply taking a 0.5% loss by not extending our stops a little bit further and not tightening. We kept it too tight a little bit. So seeing our price obviously react, let's just see how the rest of the day played out. We held above that level quite nicely, pulled back a little bit, eventually hit the 27% mark, and then slowly but surely ran up to our 61% mark. So the data is in our favor. I mean, again, I've been doing this day in, day out with my students. I'll leave the screenshot of me explaining the trade idea, and we were live training sessions with our students this morning explaining the idea. And I mean, the data is in our favor. If we continue to just play out these trades sitting on our hands, not taking every idea that does, present itself, 10 to 1, we will stay ahead of the markets. And this is where most of you guys are struggling at the moment, is you're taking anything and everything because you don't have real data behind your trades. And essentially that's why we're teaching you guys how to do this correctly. And that's why they're passing funded accounts, because they're sticking to strict rules that I've set out for myself as well as for my students. And they're learning at such a fast rate, because I mean, you've seen just over the few ideas that we have built, day 3 was, a small paper cut, not really a small paper cut, but a 2% loss. The idea was perfect, but it obviously price rotated quite heavily in terms of going upwards. So I hope you guys learned something in this trade idea. It is very, very simple in terms of what we're looking for on a day-to-day basis. This will be going in my A grade, not my A plus playbook. I was very, very much happy with this idea, especially with the beautiful reaction that we got out of the 71 and 15 minute EMA holding above. That was my conviction of entering that trade idea and then seeing price rotate to further. We could have held a little bit longer, but we wanted to be out at 0.5% profit because we took that small paper cut on that 0.5% risk, but not allowing our the market to breathe, and that can cost us as well. Trying to get sniper entries all the time doesn't always work, and that's essentially what I try to do here. Yeah, it did work out because we saw that initial reaction, we saw that pump up, and we knew there was going to be the volume. Something that I want to also keep note of is every candle 10 to 1 likes to make a bullish. Every candle 10 to 1 likes to make a bullish and bearish wick. So what we were seeing here is the 4 hour was creating its bearish wick, and that's why we got such a pullback. It wasn't going to be something small because it wanted to pull back, create its bearish wick here, as I've just moved the stuff here for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about, making its bearish wick and then starting to rotate higher. So once we got past that small little break there, something that gave me extra confirmation in my idea was actually this little 5 minute high here. We got a break of structure over there, breaking above, holding above it, and then seeing that continuation. At that point, management style was simply putting stop loss at break even once we broke that level. So we would have taken a 0.5% loss overall for the idea on the second idea that we took, and then seeing price rotate beautifully into our take profit. So yeah, day 4. Hope you guys learned something. Super excited to see your feedback on this journey. Keep on asking me questions. I will be doing more and more videos that you guys ask. I'm going to be doing a video on taxes as traders, how it works in the SA. I'm going to be doing a video on the different brokers and what actually helps you decide which broker you should be using, and just a lot of value in terms of the strategy. I hope these give you some idea of what we're actually teaching our guys and why it's important to have someone to guide you. As you can watch this video 10 million times, but the markets doesn't look the same every single day, and that's essentially why learning how to apply strategy live is so important, and it fast tracks your learning process in such a major way. So I'm going to leave a link in this video to book a call with me if you want to join our team. I'll also leave the link in this video of the broker that I use, as well as maybe, just maybe, I'll leave the link on what prop firm I'm using for this channel. I only really want to announce it at the end once I get a payout and show you the profits, etc., etc. I have gotten a payout from this prop firm before, but I'm trying to do it all on the journey with you on this specific account. So I'll see how I feel when I'm editing this video. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave that notification bell on, because we're going to be posting the value that you need to start actually becoming a consistent trader. Hope you enjoy. Peace out.